shit. Oh my god, that was so epic. I think that's it. There he is. You guys ready? Let's pull it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh. Hey! And JB's on there! 600! 600! Yes! Yay! 600 mile time. So here we are, back with the real supercharger. Okay, we are on the test track.
They'd recommend putting your head on the headrest.
Okay.
There he's ready.
Nope. Yep. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that never gets old either. We have the post-study production cars here.
Wait, what?
Yeah, oh yeah, you watch it.
Well, why is he gonna throw it?
I don't know, but we're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Just use a sledgehammer. What?
Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
I'm Eric, otherwise known as Derek, here in Shanghai at Gigafactory 3.
Ballapalooza. It's like tricks.
3, 2, 1.
Will it wipe is the big question of the day.
Will it wipe?
Generic cornflakes.
Whoa! It's raining cornflakes! Oh. This is trippy. Look, there's nothing here. Sorry, needed to find a button. Welcome everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing really well. It is Wednesday, January 26th. It is going to be the day of the Q4 financials, as well as the cumulative year of 2021 financials, as well as a talk by Elon. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Except my beverage.
all kinds of goodies today. We currently have 28 minutes until the Tesla call. So, sorry, I need to compose myself. It's been a busy day.
And we just got back from a dog walk, so we had. So anyway, so I'm David. This is Eric. Together we are Derek, and we are here to discuss what's new in the world of Tesla, but also especially the Q4 fiscal year 2021 earnings call.
So, being that we have afternoon Tim, sorry, I keep thinking I need this mic, but we're actually both mic'd up. Great to see you, Chris. Welcome, Diego, Amy.
Oh, all the regulars. Welcome back.
All you guys in chat, thank you so much. Anyway, we're going to go over the shareholder deck real quick because we have 26 minutes or so. So we're going to kind of go over that and talk about it. I've had Greg, our local friend, text me some interesting tidbits from that. So thank you, Greg. Really appreciate that. No seatbelt today, but Grogu is riding
He's kind of
in the back here. No seatbelt required for him. He is totally A-okay. Anyway.
This is the way.
That is the way. Welcome, Abstract Ocean. Thank you so much for joining. That is our channel sponsor.
But this was a gift, by the way, from
Amy,
one of
and
our
Roger.
viewers. Yes, thank you.
They actually bought my first Model Y. Anyway, let's get to the shareholder deck. So anyway, opening up. Beautiful, beautiful. Big things here, operating cash flow less CapEx of $2.8 billion in Q4. That is a ton. Oh, Greg with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Greg. Really appreciate that. Do I have? I don't have. There we go.
Oh,
There's
wow. We've never done confetti over decks before. Wow.
Thank you so much, Greg. Really appreciate that. Profitability, 2.6 billion gap. Wow. 14.7 operating margin in Q4. All this really good considering we were in the middle of a pandemic and everybody is having trouble selling vehicles. Tesla is doing very, very well.
They're knocking it out of the park, as some people like to say.
Record vehicle deliveries of, I like how they did this. They did 0.94 million instead of just saying 940,000. We'll take it. It's okay. They wanted that million on there.
The cool thing, though, is I heard that this is actually the largest production of like any American car factory.
Yeah.
So Tesla has now taken the lead.
Yeah, exactly. And then let's see, annualized vehicle production rate of over 1.22 million in Q4. So with all the factories in their current position, that is what they're looking at, which is honestly mind-blowing how they can do this. Let's see, some more financial stuff. Now they're saying, after a successful 2021, our focus shifts towards the future. Shouldn't it always? But anyway, aim to increase our production.
You tell him, Chris. That would be
Chris.
so funny.
So funny. We aim to increase our production as quickly as we can, not only through ramping production of the new factories in Austin and Berlin, but also by maximizing output from our established factories in Fremont and Shanghai. We believe competitiveness in the EV market will be determined by ability to add capacity across the supply chain and ramp production, which we have seen Tesla has owned these past couple of years during this pandemic when everybody else is having issues. Tesla, I mean, we're still waiting for our Model X after a year and a month.
Yeah.
But anywho, overall, they've been doing very, very well on deliveries. Let's see. While 2021 was definitely a defining year for our company, we believe, let me make sure you can see it, we are just at the very early stages of our journey. Thank you for being part of it. So any of you shareholders, I mean, even if you're just interested in Tesla or EVs, this goes out for you guys. So here's their financial stuff. By all means, definitely check it out. We're not going to really focus too much on that because we want to see what's coming up. Real quick. Thank you for the $1, Chris. I really do appreciate that. Oh, and another $1. Okay. I see what you're doing, Chris. I'm watching you.
Oh, wait, I know.
Oh, okay. Which, speaking of, sorry, I'm going to have a squirrel moment here. We do have the Tesla tequila. I was thinking of what kind of game we could play or something. I don't know if you guys have any ideas, let us know. But I have shot glasses here, and we got some tequila. Going through here, though, more profitability, everything. We're not going to focus too much on that. Deliveries, though, look at these deliveries. How every single
just kept going
quarter has gone up. But look at Q3 to Q4. They added 70,000 plus vehicles to that delivery.
Mostly Model Ys, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. But still, that's wild.
I was thinking with the number, though, where they were talking about in the article the other day about how Tesla is the largest production. I think they were counting the numbers, including Shanghai, though.
They definitely were. So they were counting Tesla as a whole.
Not quite right, but as a whole, they are really increasing production. It's amazing, as you've just shown.
Yeah, and then so here we can actually see back when S and X were still being delivered. Oh, and Greg, thank you for the $1 too. I really appreciate that. back when SNX were still being manufactured, delivered, they were at 19,000 a quarter, and then they dropped to 2,000, 1,800.
Wait, how did they have? Oh, okay.
What?
The 1800 were in the
In Q2 of
June.
2021.
June. Okay, that
Yep.
June of 2021. Okay.
Q3 of 2021, 9,000, and then Q4 they got almost to 12,000, and we would just like to say
11,700.
we participated in Q3 and 4.
Oh yes, we did. Yes.
So we'll pat ourselves on the back.
But of the number for Q4, probably 11,760 of those were Model S's. The other 6 were Model X's.
Very few have been Model X's yet.
No,
Hopefully that.
I think they've been ramping up lately. I heard a lot of people,
They
especially plaid Model X's, are getting their deliveries. Some of them even had dates, out to March, and then they're getting calls saying, "Hey, can you pick it up today?"
Yeah. Other things that I kind of wanted to point out.
Thank you, Mando X Games.
Oh, thank you, Mando. I really appreciate the super chats, guys. Solar deployed has been relatively steady. It hasn't really grown too
Pretty
much,
flat,
but it
yeah.
really hasn't dropped. So that's a good thing. As storage deployed, that might be due to battery
Yeah, it looks like it went down there in the last quarter.
situations. Stores and service center, that's always a big topic. They are now up to 655 locations. So they've been adding some, but again, we would love to see that really jumped up. Hopefully in time.
Go back to superchargers.
Oh, supercharger stations. So we're now, as of the end of Q4, 3,476 supercharger stations. Now that's just the station itself. With all the connectors,
But look-
we're at 31,400.
But that's almost a 50% increase just since the beginning of the year.
Exactly.
40-something percent. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
So that's 36%
Oh, okay, I'm just guessing.
year over year. Good guess.
35.
But still, really happy to see that. I definitely think the next couple of years are going to be really defining on that. More stuff, yada, yada, yada. Get to the important stuff. We all want to know.
Future product.
Berlin and Texas, equipment test. So that is the current status. We still have, and that's for just Model Y. We still have Cybertruck, Semi, Roadster, and future product in development. Future product, I'm guessing, is going to be the
Not a
Model 2 for the Chinese market, which if we can import one, I will definitely buy one and bring that to the US. I think that would be kind of fun.
But for the Model Y in Texas, maybe we'll hear about that. Maybe they're going to say it's already started production. It is out today.
You got to see what's up.
Because I've seen some pictures
Yeah.
and somebody saw that there were dozens of them out in the parking lot and they looked like they were all the same.
So let's just kind of jump on here because you're going to love some of these pictures coming up. I can already tell. Builds of Model Y started in late 2021 at Texas.
Yeah, and we knew that.
After final certification of Austin-made Model Y, we plan to start deliveries to customers.
When?
Obviously.
Today.
Hopefully we get a date. Fremont factory achieved record production in 2021. Believe there's potential for capacity beyond 600,000 a year.
Wow, just for Fremont.
Just for Fremont, which is absolutely nuts. Shanghai has been booming. They plan to continue to ramp further. Local production is essential for reducing cost per vehicle and improving stability of global supply chain. Definitely a lot easier, I would say, to build vehicles there because a lot of the supply is already there. It doesn't have to travel across an ocean, so that really helps. Berlin, equipment testing through the vehicle production process started late 2021. Still in the process of finalizing manufacturing permit from local authorities. We've been hearing a lot about that. There seems to be a lot of holdup going on, which is kind of a bummer.
I think it's kind of expected, though. Europe they always have a lot of red tape, which is, they're just making sure stuff's
not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker, and thanks to Greg for pointing this out earlier in a text. These first vehicles will be built using 2170 cells.
So that's kind of a confirmation. Originally, Elon had said the 4680s would be there at...
But one thing he didn't know up above, or the shareholder deck doesn't say, is 2170s in Austin. So more on that a little later. They talked about the FSD, vehicle software, batteries, etc. It does say, we believe our current projects, including large casting, structural pack, and 4680s, as well as others, should help continue to reduce product cost, as we've kind of already seen through the master plan and everything. Yada, 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 more stuff. Okay, good part, photos and charts.
Ooh.
So here is where it gets interesting. So Fremont, love it. Looks like a Model 3, I think. Hopefully that's a Model 3. It looks kind of like it with the trunk. You have Berlin. They've started to put like paintings, graffiti kind of on the outside. It looks really cool. And then look at the quality control, like drive-through. That is wicked cool. So that's kind of fun.
Wow.
Body shop in Berlin. More GA or General Assembly. And the exterior of Texas. So here's where it's going to get interesting. General Assembly. What is one thing we do not see on this?
People,
No.
tires.
And a battery.
Oh, okay.
Normally,
Oh,
the battery is married to the car in a similar place to here. And so it's getting painted. Attaching
There weren't any
seats
people in there
to
either,
a
though.
structural battery pack in
Oh.
Austin. So that is very, very interesting. It basically, from what we've kind
That
of
the
seen...
4680s are really coming here in
Well,
Austin?
hopefully we get confirmation of that. There's nothing in here that says that, but there's nothing in here that says it's not. Hopefully, though, they'll kind of show us something here soon where they literally take the body and just put it on the battery pack, marry it, and then it's done. That would be kind of cool because it looks like the seats and everything literally right on top of the battery. Kind of crazy. You have Shanghai. So just picture this. When we went out there,
Yeah.
it was just this
It was like September 2019.
little thing
we were
right
there.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, or no, sorry. It was this part way up here. It was just this little part. Then when I went out there in 2020,
Yeah.
it was this part, kind of this, and a little bit of this. All this has sprung up since.
Wow.
It's literally quadrupled in size since you saw it.
Wow.
You have some General Assembly, and then we're moving on to Tesla Semi.
We knew it.
So, great picture right there. Shows 4 models. You can see some with the high top, some with the low top, with the roof
Yeah. Aerodynamic
aerodynamic
shells or
shell
whatever.
thing. So I think it depends on how tall the load is as to which shell they will use, but still kind of interesting. And then graphs, financial statements, etc., etc. So those are kind of like the key things I had seen, and that Greg had pointed out. Huge thanks, Greg. I really love this right here. Structural battery pack having seats attached. That is pretty cool.
Curious.
So I don't know. Go ahead and comment in chat if there's anything that you guys saw, anything that you guys are super excited for. What do you really want to hear? And real quick, we'll give a shout out to Mando X Games, not only for a $1 super chat, but then another $2 super chat said, "Elon, you are the way." Great timing. I assume that's why he did it.
Yeah. So I heard too. I haven't gotten all the details, but somebody was saying that Panasonic is actually asking Tesla if they can build 4680 cells, and we know that they've been building the 18650 cells. So now it'd be interesting because that could really help Tesla ramp up the production if they go to a partnership with someone else. They could more than double their capacity.
It looked like I saw an article earlier this week that said Panasonic said they could build them as early as 2023. So not quite as fast, but
maybe
for all
Tesla's
we
own
know,
production could be, tide them over for 2022.
Exactly. For all we know, Cato Road, which is their kind of like
The Roadrunner stuff.
Project Roadrunner facility, that's where the 4680s, that's where the dream started. And that's where their test lines have been. For all we know, they have been building so many 4680s, and they just have a warehouse full of them.
I'm sure somebody, I don't know.
It would be nice thinking.
Kit went to look for it.
Kit went to go look for some 4680 cells. We will let you know if he finds them. I don't know. I'm kind of.
But go
on
back to the
border
previous
about it.
picture of
Which one?
the previous one, or go one more up.
This one?
No, the one more,
That
right
one.
there. So yeah, interesting.
So the fully painted bodies, and now like at this step in Fremont, this is where they would put the battery on. But that doesn't have glass in it yet. It doesn't have doors. So like they might do a little bit more exterior, but pretty soon the battery would go into it. I think it's kind of interesting. I really like these photos. I wish they would do like a how it's made Tesla edition. That'd be cool. Yeah, Kid agrees. He's very excited for today. And then actually here, real quick, because I know we're gonna get it. Dog cam. Oh, hold on.
No. Oh, cannot be carried. There you go.
Dog cam. Everyone loves seeing the dogs, so there you go. Anyway, we currently have, let's see here, 12 minutes and 36 seconds until the webcast.
And has the stock price changed?
And we will be having our stock
Ooh.
ticker up in the top right-hand corner as usual. It is going to be up there. And so on the left side, that is what it closed at, and on the right is our after hour.
And it
So
hasn't dropped yet after hours.
as of right now, after hours, we are up $6 per share, which these meetings kind of go all over the place. It seems like good news, the stock goes down, bad news, it goes up. I'll never know.
Yeah. But
But,
we wouldn't be disappointed if it just went up this time.
Yeah, let's just go
Broke
up.
the trend and just
I'm
go up.
totally fine with that. Let's go ahead and check out some things, questions, and comments that have come in. Roger,
Yeah, it's
great to see you in chat, said it looks like a sleeper cab versus a day cab. Good to know.
I saw it did look like they had glass in there because you could see reflection was the same on all of them.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. See how there's like a white
I
reflection
think
and white
that's the...
the headliner? I don't think it would be the
No,
headliner.
that wouldn't be a headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that is like the roof glass. Because here you can see there's nothing.
Yeah. But look on the
Oh,
okay,
sorry,
so
you
yeah.
guys can't see it.
Oh, so yeah, so maybe it is the roof glass and not the windshield.
Yeah, because here you can see there's no windshield at least. Actually, it doesn't look like there's roof glass either.
Well, I don't know, but
That's sus. Because the roof glass would come like right here. Huh.
oh, well, I don't know what it
Interesting.
is.
Maybe
but
we'll learn
there's
something
some
new.
sort of thing going on there.
Yeah. Peak Time Racing said, can you quickly recap Cybertruck news? So
Oh yeah.
we didn't
some
really talk
pictures-
too much about that. Some pictures showed up this week. We don't know if that is still an alpha. Maybe it is a beta. That would be kind of cool. Elon tweeted that he had been driving it around the Gigafactory in Texas and said it's coming along really nicely. The pictures make it look really well finished.
And some minor tweaks,
Yeah.
from the original unveiling back at the end of 2019.
Yep.
The front end's slightly different, the windshield slightly different, the wiper is visible there, and we still don't know if that's the production wiper. Looks like the charge port.
Looks like it might be.
The charge port has changed location as
Yep.
well. Yeah, so lots of changes, but
Yeah.
not huge.
Yeah. Let's see. Jared said, so if you ever wanted to replace a battery, they'd have to disconnect all the seats. Seems less efficient, but maybe I don't get it. I mean, I'm sure Tesla has thought about that, and maybe it's the time needed, if they need to do a battery replacement, isn't as much based on production of the vehicle.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work too,
Yeah.
because it
I mean,
still
it's
has
a great
it
question.
still has. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it is a great question.
I'm sure they'll tell us one of these days. I just know that it's different from how the Model S and the Model X with that battery pack that just bolts onto the bottom. That was much easier, I guess. But but it wasn't as structural like this one.
Exactly. And I mean, there's a lot of questions that come around structural battery packs. How are they going to deal with crashes? How are they going to deal with like kind of fender benders? I'm honestly not sure yet.
Or if it's like just some of the cells have problems, and
Yeah.
it's like, are they going to be able to take those out, those
Yeah.
modules out, or individual cells out?
Yeah, a lot of questions surrounding that.
I'm sure they've done the math though, and they figured out this is
This
the
is
way.
the way. Oh man. Okay. Fred's Model 3N said just got to did the party start? 8 minutes and 55 seconds, but we got our tequila here. David has his LaCroix. I have my water. Not sponsored, but if you'd like to LaCroix, hit us up. Amy said, I really want an update on Cybertruck. So tired about hearing the whining. Yes, so my big thing is I want Cybertruck and I want Roadster.
It would be nice.
Roadster has been too long with literally crickets.
It's been over 4 years now that we've been
So,
waiting for the Roadster.
Fingers
Cybertruck's
crossed.
only 2 years, and we knew that it was going to be a while. So hopefully we'll get
Yeah.
some more specifics on that. But it's probably still going to be about a year on that, I would guess.
Yeah. Let's see. I wonder, from Dave, I wonder if LFP Tech and 4680 Tech will merge when the patents for LFP expire. Quite possibly. I mean, if Tesla really wanted to, though, they could just license that LFP patent.
And so basically that would
Or
allow
buy the company that has it.
And that would allow you to charge the battery up to 100% all the
All the
time,
time.
and not have to worry about keeping it topped up like that.
Or did Tesla find something else
Yeah,
better
there's
or
always-
equally
who
as good
knows?
as that, so that they don't have to pay for anything like that? Colorado Y, thanks so much for joining. Said, I've been avoiding Tesla news all day. Wanted to get it here first. I think the structural pack in Austin is huge news. Much appreciated. So happy that you guys could make it. Really appreciate that. I sent you a DM on Twitter, by the way. Just let me know when you get a chance. Let's see. Tesla Tim said, I really want to start tours again at Fremont.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
'Cause we did tours back in, 2016 and 2017, I think. So it's been a while. And
Long time.
A lot has changed since then.
Yup. Let's see. Money Mike said, do you guys know if AMD chips are now in 2022 models for 3 and Y? Yes. A couple people, actually quite a few people have reached out, and we've seen a lot of postings online. And people that have been taking delivery of 2022 models, like newly built ones, have been getting AMD chips. Let's see. Chris said, do we have a reservation for the app Terrasol? Yes, actually we do.
And that's a really interesting, three-wheel
Three-wheeler.
vehicle. So
It kind of looks very much like a
But
little
it's
like
supposed-
airplane.
yeah, but it's supposed to get really, really good mileage because it's so light. And it looks like, we've seen in some of their pre-production pictures and stuff, it looks like it might have a Tesla charge port. It might have some other Tesla technology too. And some of the pictures, it looked like they had the Model 3 screen in there. So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see if they do end
There's
up
a
keeping
lot.
those parts. And
Well, they also showed it had a Tesla charge port
Yep.
and a Tesla handle, which means that's got to be who Tesla is kind
and
of
they could always change it too, especially if Tesla is going to go more CCS. We don't know.
Yeah. My lavalier mic. Do I need to do this? Pete said to uncurl it. Sorry.
Oh.
My bad. Okay. Hopefully that's a little better. Fred's Model 3 said, congrats on 85,000 subs. Thank you so much. Thank you all for subbing. If you aren't, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. Really appreciate everybody, for sure. Rick said, Greg's mic sounds echoey to me.
Who's Greg?
Greg. No. There might be a slight echo because we are sitting next to each other. See number 3 and 4 slider? Can you pull it down like a couple millimeters? No, too much. And then pull 4 down just a couple millimeters? Okay. Hopefully that sounds a little better. Hopefully we won't peak as much. Let's see. Colorado Y said, hoping we get some better stockholder questions this time. Not yes.
Well, you can pull it up and see on the
Yeah,
Say
I'll pull the
Technologies
Say.
or whatever, but I'm not really pleased with those because in the past it seems like I'm going to say it like the stupid questions, or they say that there's no such thing as a stupid question, but we've seen that that's not true.
Not always the case.
And sometimes they don't filter the questions, and you'll have the same question asked 3 times in a row, and it's like, you could consolidate these, because when you have a million shares here and a million shares here on the exact same question, why not consolidate those into one question? And I suggested that, but my question was removed, so.
Lame. Currently, the most shared question is, what is the current volume of 4680 cells? Totally
Should
fine
bring it
with
down.
that. Oh yeah, here. Let's look at the top questions real quick.
You saw it here first, folks.
So, I mean, I love this question. Nothing wrong with that one. Let's see. This one has 20.7 million Tesla shares represented, by the way.
Wow.
I don't know the math on that, but that's
That's a lot.
big number.
Yep.
How's the process of progress of the 25K compact car? I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was no longer 25,000, because we've seen price increases in the 3 and the Y. And
for future
the S
products,
and
they
the
have to be
X.
careful what they do say.
But but I wouldn't be. I would be surprised if it's still 25,000.
Yeah. Tesla HVAC systems. Splitting FSD package to perpetual and term licenses.
Oh, see now that's kind of
something we
something
never
we've
actually
but,
figured.
well, we've talked about that first, but perpetual would be like for the life of the buyer,
Right.
And because we've paid for it multiple times, we spent like over $68,000 on full self-driving and autopilot over the last 6 years, and we're not getting that money out, our bang for the buck out of that, because we don't keep the cars long enough. And so it would be nice if they did have a perpetual license. That would be something
That would be
I would
interesting.
consider buying again, or maybe we've already paid in enough that hey, you get one.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Dojo, insurance rolled out in all states.
So these questions
so
seem
these-
better than what I've expected compared to last time.
I was seeing some the other day, and I was just like, no.
Maybe they did kinda-
Maybe they did get rid of some of them.
And I haven't seen any, just glancing through them, I am not seeing a lot of duplicates or anything either. So
Yeah.
maybe they kind of caught on.
Most of those are some retail, some institutional. So this will be starting momentarily. So just keep that in mind.
Do you have the
I'm gonna
audio?
move this over here. Oh, you can't see it. It's my tequila. Let's see. So I'm gonna get all this set up. If you want to answer some more questions, we are right here with Amy. Said, I miss you guys. This is the way.
This is the way.
Totally. There's a earpiece for you. Abstract Ocean said, same, no issues with the audio, but Eric might want to uncurl the lab mic. That's what I done. My bad. So yeah, this is David. I'm Eric.
And together, we're Derek.
We're Derek. Greg is actually one of our good friends who lives.
He's our
pretty close by
correspondent,
us.
but he's not located in the studio today.
Ooh, he's been upgraded to correspondent.
and
Oh.
longtime subscriber and contributor.
Yeah. So he gives me a bunch of D. You okay over there?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like Tesla stock is
Did I just mute it?
volume. Wait, is my mic off? Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Did you never turn it on?
Can you talk? No, I was.
Maybe that's why it's been bad this whole time. Volume up. This is the way. Chris said to rename the channel to Greg. So.
Well, maybe we should.
Okay.
I plugged in. Sorry,
Oh, maybe they said maybe they make Grogu, not Greg. That could be it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, are we good?
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna-
Sorry, my mic. My receiver died.
Oops.
Oh, turn the volume back up a little bit. Got it. Okay, maybe you went down just a tad
Please
bit too
turn
far.
volume. Okay. Oh, hello to AMG from Scotland.
Okay, how's that volume, guys? Hopefully that's okay.
But any minute now, do you have the audio from the?
Yeah, so I'm gonna get that. So if you, here, I'll give you your mouse. Or actually, I'll keep the mouse. You can chat. So when this does come up and we start with the live stream, what will happen is we will mute ourselves and just put them up. We'll have, say, technologies questions. We will have the stock price so we can see current live ticker of that. And we will be quiet while they are talking with Tesla. We will be active in chat. If you have something you want to say, you like something, you think something's stupid, definitely throw it in chat and we will be able to talk about it all down there. And kind of just go from there, I think. And then after everything concludes with Tesla, we will pick back up here and kind of talk about what we learned, what we didn't, what we liked, what we didn't, and kind of just like have like a debrief, so to speak.
Yeah, and yeah, Connor was saying they want to hear our gasps and groans. So yeah, we
David will be in chat typing, and you'll be able to see us just or whatever if something bad happens. So definitely, yeah. Let's see here. I'm just gonna mute that until it starts so we don't get copyright dinged or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess hopefully it starts in the next 10 seconds.
And as Elon should be on this one because he mentioned back in November that he would show up for this call to do that product roadmap for upcoming products.
Yep. So yeah, it's just right now just some background audio, but again, like I said, gonna mute that because I don't want to necessarily be copyright striked. So, yeah. Connor said the dumb questions inbound. We have to do 2 shots per dumb question. 2. Actually, here though.
We don't have enough.
Real quick before this starts,
We don't have
I'll
enough
take a
tequila.
shot. I'll take a shot of our Tesla tequila. And if you are of age, legal age, and would like to join us in a shot for Q4 financials, feel free.
And congratulations on nearly 1 million deliveries.
Do you want one?
Not right now.
Oh, okay. Then I guess it's just me drinking.
You have them out.
Okay. So,
But yeah, as expected, they're not right on time. So, yeah.
congratulations to all the shareholders, everyone who's taken delivery of their car in 2021 for helping making this possible. That is my speech. I don't have anything to chase it.
Hey, sounds like the hair's starting, so we're going to take.
Quarter 2021
Okay,
Q&A
we will be
webcast.
quiet
My name
as
is
of
Martin
now.
Vieca, Senior Director of Investor Relations, and I'm joined today by Elon Musk, Zachary Kirkhorn, and a number of other executives. Our Q4 results were announced at about 3 p.m. Central Time in the update deck we published at the same link as this webcast. During this call, we will discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Actual events or results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our most recent filings with the SEC. During the question and answer portion of today's call, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Please use the raise hand button to join the question queue. But before we jump into Q&A, Elon has some opening remarks. Elon?
Thanks, Martin. So just to recap, 2021, it was a breakthrough year for Tesla and for electric vehicles in general. And while we battled, and everyone did, with supply chain challenges through the year, we managed to grow our volumes by nearly 90% last year. This level of growth didn't happen by coincidence. It was a result of ingenuity and hard work across multiple teams throughout the company. Additionally, we reached the highest operating margin in the industry in the last widely reported quarter at over 14% GAAP operating margin. Lastly, thanks to $5.5 billion of million, small finger by the mouth, $5.5 billion of GAAP net income in 2021, our accumulated profitability since the inception of the company became positive, which I think makes us a real company at this point. This is a critical milestone for the company. So after an exceptional year, we shift our focus to the future. Texas and Berlin. So we've begun production at both Texas and Berlin. We started that last quarter. But that's not the most important thing. We're focused more on when to get to volume production and when can we deliver cars to customers. But I think it is worth noting that we, and as the internet has observed, we've been making quite a few cars in Texas and Berlin. So in Boston and Berlin. So in Texas, we're building the Model Ys with the structural battery pack and the 4680 cells. And we will start delivering after final certification of the vehicle, which should be fairly soon. Capacity expansion will continue through maximizing output of each factory and building new factories in new locations in the future. Although we're not ready to announce any new locations on this call, but we will, through 2022, look at new locations and probably be able to announce new locations towards the end of this year, I expect. So in 2022, supply chain will continue to be the fundamental limiter of output across all factories. So the chip shortage, while better than last year, is still an issue. Yeah, so that's there are multiple supply chain challenges, last year was difficult to predict, and hopefully this year will be smooth sailing. But I'm not sure what you do for an encore to 2021, 2020. But nonetheless, we do expect significant growth in 2022 over 2021. Comfortably above 50% growth in 2022. Full self-driving. So over time, we think full self-driving will become the most important source of profitability for Tesla. Actually, if you run the numbers on robotaxis, it's kind of nutty. It's nutty good from a financial standpoint. And I think we're completely confident at this point that it will be achieved. My personal guess is that we'll achieve full self-driving this year. With at a safety level significantly greater than a person. So, the cars in the fleet essentially becoming self-driving by a software update, I think might end up being the biggest increase in asset value of any asset class in history. We shall see. It will also have a profound impact on improving safety and on accelerating the world towards sustainable energy. through vastly better asset utilization. Let's see. So on the product roadmap front, there's quite a lot to talk about. I'm not going to go through every sort of thing that we're working on because I think a lot of them deserve product launches of their own, as opposed to a few minutes on an earnings call. So I'll talk kind of at a high level. Mostly at a high level. The fundamental focus of Tesla this year is scaling output. Both last year and this year, if we were to introduce new vehicles, our total vehicle output would decrease. This is a very important point that I think a lot of people do not understand. So last year, we spent a lot of engineering and management resources solving supply chain issues, rewriting code, changing out chips, reducing the number of chips we need. That was chip drama central. And that was not the only supply chain issue. So there was just hundreds of things. And as a result, we were able to grow almost 90% while I believe almost every other manufacturer contracted last year. So that's a good result. But if we had introduced, say, a new car last year, our total vehicle output would have been the same because of the constraints, the chips constraints particularly. So if we'd actually introduced an additional product, that would then require a bunch of attention and resources on that increased complexity of the additional product, resulting in fewer vehicles actually being delivered. And the same is true of this year. So we will not be introducing new vehicle models this year. It would not make any sense because we will still be cost constrained. We will, however, do a lot of engineering and tooling and whatnot to create those vehicles, the Cybertruck, Semi, Roadster, Optimus, and be ready to bring those to production, hopefully next year. That is most likely. But like I said, it is dependent on are we able to produce more cars or fewer cars? In terms of priority of products, I think actually the most important product development we're doing this year is actually the Optimus humanoid robot. This, I think, has the potential to be more significant than the vehicle business over time. If you think about the economy, it is the foundation of the economy is labor. Capital equipment is distilled labor. So what happens if you don't actually have a labor shortage? I'm not sure what an economy even means at that point. That's what Optimus is about. So, very important. Let's see, Drew, do you want to talk about the 4680 program?
Sure.
Or is this the right time? Or?
Sure. Sure. So throughout 2021, we focused on growing cell supply alongside our in-house 4680 effort to provide us flexibility and insurance as we attempt to grow as fast as possible. As we sit today, cells from suppliers sort of exceeds our other factory limiting constraints that you mentioned, Elon, in 2022. Or to say differently, 4680 cells are not a constraint to our 2022 volume plans based on the information we have. but we are making meaningful progress up the ramp curve in Cato. We're building 4680 structural packs every day, which are being assembled into vehicles in Texas. I was driving one yesterday and the day before. And we believe our first 4680 vehicles will be delivered this quarter. Our focus on the cell, the pack, and the vehicles here is driving yield, quality, and cost to ensure we're ready for larger volumes this year as we ramp and next year. And the 4680 and pack tool installations here at Giga Austin are progressing well, with some areas producing first parts, and the internet has also noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was touring the factory, the cell factory here yesterday. I'm super pumped. It's like a really exciting accomplishment for us to bring everything into one awesome factory here in Texas.
Absolutely. And just to repeat Drew's point, we still expect to be part or primarily chip limited this year. So that's the thing. That's actually the driver.
Yeah.
And that chip limitation should alleviate next year, and then probably we transition into a cell limitation, battery cell. It's total gigawatt hours of cell limitation, which is when the 4680 will become very important.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much. And now Zach has some opening remarks as well.
The long opening remark.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. As Elon mentioned, 2021 was a financially transformative year for the company. If we look across the full year 21 and compare that to 2020, our automotive gross margin, excluding credits, rose by over 600 basis points, enabled by work on cost reduction, utilization of our Shanghai factory for exports, and accelerating demand. OPEX as a percentage of revenue reduced despite the impact of one-time items and unique items, and operating income more than tripled, with operating margin reaching our guidance of mid-teens, and these margins are trending up. We also saw regulatory credits accounting for a relatively small portion of our 2021 profitability, which we expect to continue to reduce in materiality going forward. For Q4 specifically, automotive gross margin, excluding credits, increased to 29.2%, which is our highest yet. We do continue to see some impact of higher pricing on certain models and trims, as was the case in prior quarters. But please keep in mind that due to backlogs, changes in pricing will generally impact our financials in future quarters. Supply chain challenges and port congestion resulted in a significant increase in our expedite costs in Q4. We also took reserves associated with warranty and recall costs. Operating expenses were meaningfully impacted by stock-based compensation from the final two tranches of the CEO stock grant becoming probable, and payroll taxes associated with the exercise of the 2012 CEO options. The total impact of these payroll taxes, warranty and recall costs, and excess expedites was just over $700 million in the quarter. Our free cash flows have remained strong, reaching record levels in Q4 of $2.8 billion, despite increased CapEx. In addition to using cash to grow the business as quickly as we can, we have been retiring legacy and high-interest debt. Note that we plan to continue to utilize the ABS market for product-specific financing. As we look forward, we expect 2022 to be another significant and exciting year for the company. We continue to drive for vehicle volume growth at or above 50%, as Elon mentioned, and our plans show that this is actually achievable with just our Fremont and Shanghai factories. For quite some time now, these factories have been running below capacity due to macro challenges with supply and logistics. As Elon mentioned as well, from what we're seeing, the pace of growth in 2022 will again be determined by supply chain and logistics, which is quite difficult for us to forecast. Despite these constraints, it's important to begin the ramp of Austin and Berlin to ensure that we are prepared once limitations ease, enabling us to increase total output more quickly in the future. This will result in higher fixed and semi-variable costs in the near term, in addition to the usual inefficiencies as we ramp a new factory. We are also seeing inflation and rising commodity prices, which we expect to continue to put pressure on our costs. How this specifically impacts gross margins in the near term is uncertain, given a mix of both tailwinds and headwinds. However, we do expect to continue to see stronger operating margins as we grow our volumes and improve operating leverage. Over a longer-term horizon, we are quite optimistic about the expansion of margins, though. From the hardware side, we are aggressively driving manufacturing innovations and operational efficiency to reduce cost. And with the rapid development of FSD, software-based profits will ultimately become a strong addition to the profits generated by selling hardware. So congratulations to the Tesla team for a terrific 2021, and thank you to our suppliers who supported us. Looking forward to another great year.
I'd like to just second the thank you to suppliers. A lot of suppliers work very late nights, weekends, vacations around the world, and we're very grateful for that.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the Q&A from the investor side. The first question was on 4680 cells, which we already answered. So let's go to the second question. How is the progress of the $25,000 compact car? Can you give an update?
Well, we're not currently working on that $25,000 car. At some point we will, but we have enough on our plate right now. Too much on our plate, frankly. So at some point there will be. But I think that's sort of a question that it's sort of the wrong question. Really, it's really the thing that overwhelmingly matters is when is the car autonomous? At the point at which is autonomous, the cost of transport drops by, I don't know, a factor of 4 or 5.
Thank you. The next question from investors is, since we're talking product roadmaps today, how do you view domestic cooling and heating in the context of accelerating the sustainable energy transition? And how might Tesla's HVAC and heat pump advances fit it?
You want to talk about that, Drew?
I think from a mission perspective, it's very aligned. If you imagine replacing natural gas, water, and space heaters with electric heat pumps, it offsets something equivalent to like 80% of what a solar plus Powerwall system would offset. So it's very impactful. And we have learned a lot about how to make capable and reliable heat pumps that work in all environmental conditions, and are excited about the idea of working on that problem one day. We put it that way. It's definitely aligned with our mission to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy.
Yeah, I think it really becomes quite a compelling solution to the consumer, where you integrate the electric vehicles, charging, solar, energy storage, hot water, HVAC in a very tight, compact package that also looks good. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, the integration of those systems in a house.
That's Lars, by the way.
Sorry. The integration of those systems in a house are no different than the integration of those systems in a vehicle.
Yeah.
The only difference is we do it all in a vehicle.
It's way harder in a vehicle.
And then
it's so constrained on mass and volume and energy. It's like you get to the house, you're like, wow. If you have
kind of easy problem.
Yeah.
But obviously those systems are all just disparate, and what we've been doing with the Powerwall and charging solar is integrating them more and more. The next logical step is obviously HVAC and water and heating. So we will do that, and we will integrate it probably better than anyone has. But as you said, we have a lot of stuff on our plate.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously it integrates with your phone app and everything, and then the car can, the house can just heat and cool things because it knows you're coming home.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It just doesn't need to be like randomly that temperature when you're not there, or
when the cat moves.
Yeah, exactly. Cat moves, exactly. So you just do sensible things and just work really well. I think it'd be just quite a game changer down the road. We got a lot of fish frying on it, and so it is a thing we will do, but we're not committing to a time frame at this point.
And people should do it anyway.
Yeah, if somebody else wants to do it, we are. Yes, please.
Yeah, it's super beneficial for achieving the goal here.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is, would you consider splitting FSD packages into perpetual and term licenses with a higher tier for both options for commercial use? A perpetual license could be attached to individual or business, and not the vehicle itself.
I think it'd be just a, quite a game changer down the road. We got a lot of fish frying on it, and so it is a thing we will do, but we're not committing to a time frame at this point. And people should do it anyway. Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds maybe too complicated. We're just going to be focused on like what solves for the fully considered lowest cost per mile or kilometer of driving. And these are the so that's what matters. Like how do we maximize the efficiency of getting people from one place to another, and then charge them in a sensible way,
including the charging infrastructure. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Charging for money and charging for energy.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is Dojo on track for summer 2022? And what challenges, if any, are you working through? Is Dojo necessary for FSD to operate better in cities like New York City? Or on a separate note, where should we expect the first implementation of Tesla bots? In your factories?
Okay, there's a few questions in there. Like 6 questions. Yeah, Dojo appears to be on track for doing something useful in the summer of this year. I think the threshold that really matters is at which point, when does it become more competitive than a GPU cluster for training? And obviously, the GPU cluster is getting better, so it's a moving target. But that's the goal I've set for the team is the FSD team running our GPU supercluster needs to tell me that they want to use Dojo instead. That's a obvious sort of threshold. I don't know when that will. It's like I wouldn't say like success is 100% certain here. I think you would just generally want to overestimate eating options and underestimate ourselves. But it does seem as though we might pass that threshold next year with Dojo if we execute well. Dojo is not needed for full self-driving, but it is a cost optimization on training vast amounts of video data. Cost optimization also a rate of improvement. So if you can train models faster and have a shorter iteration interval, then you can make progress faster. So, like not everything can be just distributed to a zillion deep GPUs. So there's some element of serialization there. So, and then if Dojo is competitive, then it does seem like the kind of thing where we would offer it to other companies that want to do neural net training. This is very much a neural net training optimized system. But in theory, it should be better than a generalized computing platform or say GPUs, which were not really intended for they're pixel shaders, not directly intended for optimizing training of neural networks. They just happen to work better than CPUs in most cases. So you can think of like Dojo as like a giant ASIC, optimized for neural net training, especially video or video-like things. But as like I said, we're not saying for sure Dojo will succeed. We think it will. We would encourage those who think this is an interesting problem to join Tesla. So.
Thank you. And the first use of Tesla bot, whether it's in the factory or elsewhere?
Yeah, the first use of the Tesla bot, Optimus. The Optimus name seems to be sticking, at least internally. Optimus subprime. Like if we can't find a use for it, then we shouldn't expect that others would. So the first use of the Tesla Optimus robots would be at Tesla, kind of like moving parts around the factory or something like that.
Okay, thank you very much. And the next question on insurance. When do you plan on having your insurance service rolled out in all the states? International rollout timing in markets that have Tesla insurance, what kind of uptake rates are you seeing?
Yeah, we currently offer Tesla insurance in 5 states in the U.S. 4 of them are telematics, which is Texas, Illinois, Ohio, and Arizona, and then California, which has a more standard insurance offering based upon regulations there.
It should be clear, like we're pushing very hard for California to change the rules to allow informatics, which basically means that you're as safe as your driving is measured. So. I think the current California rules are contrary to the best interests of the consumers in California, and should be changed.
Yeah, and that's evidenced by what we're seeing in Texas, where we've been in this market now for about 3 months. And what we see in the data is the frequency of collision by folks who are given a feedback loop on how they are driving is quite a bit lower than the frequency of collision otherwise.
Yeah, and we give people direct feedback on whether driving is safe. And if they drive safer, their insurance costs less, so they drive safer. It's great. It encourages Tesla insurance with informatics and real-time feedback encourages safer driving and rewards it. I mean, monetarily, it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we see that so far in Texas. Take rates have been quite strong. We measure this on the conversion rate from when folks quote to see what their monthly rate would be at the starting point to what percentage of them purchase. So we're very encouraged by the interest that we're seeing in Texas. And then we've had enough history in Texas to see what does the loss ratios look like and how do the economics of the program work. And, we're on the right track there as well. So we're comfortable with what we've seen in Texas to move as quickly as we can to scale this across the U.S. Specifically on the question about when we will be in all states, this is a slow process because of insurance being regulated at the state level. And so we have to go through each of those processes with each of the departments of insurance at each state. But our internal goal here by the end of the year is to be in enough locations that 80% of our customers within the US could choose to sign up for Tesla insurance if they wanted to. There's a lot of uncertainty around that based upon the regulatory processes, but that's our goal. And then as we make more progress rolling out in the states and each incremental state becomes a little bit less effort than the prior, that's when we'll turn our attention to the Europe market. We might be able to do that by the end of the year, starting to get work on Europe by the end of the year. We'll have to see how we progress in the US.
Thank you. The next question is, what is your expected max capacity from each of your current factories, Fremont, Shanghai, Berlin, and Austin, and timing for new factory announcements?
I don't think we want to comment on that. That's it's always possible to increase the output of any given factory. So you say, well, what's the max capacity? Well, it's difficult to say what that max capacity is because you put a lot of effort into it, you increase capacity quite a lot. I think looking at the big picture, you don't necessarily always want to increase capacity at one factory because your logistics costs of transporting cars needs to be considered, especially as the cars become more affordable. You want to have factories that are not like thousands of miles away from the customers. So even if you could increase output, it may not actually be the smart thing to do. So in the U.S., for example, with Giga Texas coming up, we would want to deliver, say, Model Ys that are going to the eastern 2/3 of the United States from this factory. The logistics costs are going to be much less. We will continue to increase output in Fremont and at Giga Nevada and in Shanghai and as I said at the beginning of the call, this 2022 is the year we will be looking at factory locations to see what makes the most sense, possibly with some announcement by the end of this year. Yeah.
Thank you. And the next question is, what are the biggest obstacles for Cybertruck volume production besides battery shortage?
Batteries will probably not be the limiting factor in Cybertruck production. There's a lot of new technology in the Cybertruck that will take some time to work through. And then there's a question of like, what's the average cost of a Cybertruck, and to what degree is that affordable? You can make something infinitely desirable, but if it's not affordable, that will constrain people's ability to buy it because they simply don't have the money. I'd worry more about like, how do we make the Cybertruck affordable, despite having all this awesome technology? That's the thing that will really set the rate. Aspirationally, we'd like it to, in terms of just a rough order of magnitude, we'd like Cybertruck to be at least on the order of 250,000 vehicles a year. But it'll take us a moment to get to that level.
Thank you. The next question is, how much of Tesla's margin improvement is from number one, economies of scale, number two, production line design efficiencies, number three, reduced transportation costs from multiple plant locations, and number four, pricing versus cost inflation, or number five, other sources? And how much further could margins improve and why?
Yeah, there's basically four major factors if we look over the last year to the margin improvement in the company. And they're in no particular order here, but these are the big ones. So our mix of Model Y is increasing, as we've ramped that to higher capacity in Fremont and also in Shanghai. And the reason that matters is the Model Y is a vehicle that carries a higher profit than the Model 3. And so that is helpful on our margins. And then as we increase the volume on that program, with labor efficiencies, fixed cost amortization, they improve and the costs go down as well. The second one here is localization in Shanghai has been a huge help for margins for the company. And the obvious things around logistics and duties is a big part of it, but we've also, that factory had a different line design, more efficient from the start, and we've been pushing the boundaries on the volume there. So that has been helpful. If you recall, at the beginning of the year, we also were in a transition to the new version of the Model S and Model X. And so as that has ramped over the course of the year, that has been helpful. And then we've also done various price increases in certain markets on certain models, which has helped there. So that's generally the story at a high level. As we look over the next quarter or two, as I mentioned in my opening remarks in the last call as well, we have rampant efficiencies from the launch of Austin and Berlin. We also have pressures coming from inflation, supply chain, raw materials, et cetera. And so, where that nets out is hard to say in the immediate term. And we obviously as a company are going to be driving to increase margins as much as we can. But I just want to be realistic that we're launching two factories simultaneously here, and it unavoidably will add cost to the business as we do that. And as we look further out, and Elon mentioned this in his opening remarks as well, the software portion of the business, I think, is the one to really pay attention to. As full self-driving features get rolled out to more and more folks. I mean, for me personally, I prefer to drive my car with the FSD beta on. I think as more and more people experience that, take rates there, and then as we work towards the robotaxi space, there's actually quite a bit of upside on margins from a software perspective.
Yeah, I think basically everything pales in comparison to the value of a robotaxi or full self-driving. I mean, that just tends to overwhelm everything. You just go from having an asset that has a utility of perhaps 12 hours a week for a passenger car to maybe around 50 or 60 hours a week. So 5x increase in the utility of the asset. The cost didn't change. Or, yeah, so that's where just things just you had, it's kind of blows your mind.
Thank you. And the last question from investors is, Elon mentioned level 4 autonomy could be achieved this year. Is it based off initial FSD beta rollout experience, or is level 4 ability predicated on Dojo being complete and online?
As mentioned earlier, Dojo is not required for full self-driving. It should have a positive effect on the cost of training networks. It's not just a question like does you get full self-driving, but really it's kind of like the march of nines of reliability. Is it 99.999% reliable or 99.999999%? This gets nutty. So we obviously want to get to as close to perfection as possible. Frankly, being safer than a human is a low standard, not a high standard. People are very, very lossy, often distracted, tired, texting. Anyway, it's remarkable that we don't have more accidents. So so actually being better than human, I think is relatively straightforward, frankly. How do you be 1,000% better or 10,000% better? That's what that's much harder. But I think anyone who's been in the FSD beta program, I mean, if they were just to plot the progress of the beta in interventions per mile, it's obviously trending to, a very small number of interventions per mile, and the pace of improvement is fast. And there are several profound improvements to the FSD stack that are coming, the next few months. So, I would be shocked if we do not achieve full self-driving safer than a human this year. I would be shocked.
Thank you. Let's go to analyst questions now. And the first question comes from Jed from Canaccord. Jed, feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hi, thanks. And congratulations on a great year. Elon, I guess my question's around the Megapack or your energy business. And so as we look at the strategy or the supply chain constraints that you mentioned, you have two different strategies, or it seems like, with Megapack and Powerwall. And I think the Powerwall was answered with 4680 and the 2170 opening up. So I was wondering if you could just talk about the supply chain and LFP for the Megapack and what we should expect for that.
To be clear, we do think that all stationary storage, Powerwall and Megapack, will transition to an iron-based system, basically a non-nickel system. Manganese is also could be part of the future, but primarily iron. It just comes down to iron, nickel. You need something that is formed in a star before a supernova, ideally. So iron is. So there's a ridiculous amount of iron on Earth, as well as a ridiculous amount of lithium. So you can really expect all stationary storage to transition to iron over time. And like I said, with manganese is like a wild card. It's also less manganese. And I should say, like, we did shortchange the energy business last year, in that vehicle took priority over the energy side. So
Not on cells, but on chips.
on chips, exactly.
Yeah.
We do see a very, long-term, probably terawatt hour per year energy business.
Yes.
So a lot. It's very vast. Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you. So you see that 22 is kind of the opening of that the energy business reaccelerating.
It's hard to predict 2022 because we still have lingering supply chain. There are still lingering supply chain issues globally. But I think the chip stuff, at least the chip side of things, appears to looks like it will alleviate end of this year or 23. I mean, there are a crazy number of chip fabs being built, which is great. The sheer number of chip fabs being built right now is exciting to see. Yeah. So, but there could be other issues. We're trying to anticipate those as much as possible, but predicting the future is difficult.
I mean, the goal is definitely to grow it this year.
Yeah. It'll grow this year, for sure. It just, if we're simply if we're able to respond to demand, it might grow by like 200 or 300% or something, as opposed to 50% or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's exactly that. I mean, it's a question of does it double, triple, quadruple? I mean, either way, I think our plans are pretty ambitious for Megapack this year, and storage in general.
Yeah.
The exact amount of growth is hard to know. But ultimately, I mean, to Elon's point about the growth of this business, I mean, we need to be growing it faster than the vehicle business.
It will actually grow faster than the vehicle business once we can alleviate the damn chip constraint, frankly. So it will grow like kelp on steroids, basically, down the road. It needs to. Our primary mission is to accelerate sustainable energy. That's always been our primary mission, and we're trying to stay true to that.
Thank you. The next question comes from Ben Kalo from Baird.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. I was wondering on the R&D front, because like you said, you have so many fish frying. How do you organize the R&D, efforts, so that you can, start talking about all these new products? Is there like an incubator or some type of thing like that? But just structurally, I'm curious about that. Thank you.
We don't have incubators.
Or research centers.
We don't have research centers.
No.
We're in it. Yeah.
We work on things that go into our products.
Yeah, we're like, this is a useful product that the world really needs, and we're just like, let's make this thing, design it up and iterate fast and then figure out how to make this at scale at a reasonable price. That last part is the super hard part. Many times I've said prototypes are easy, production is hard. If we could whip out a zillion prototypes, but what's the point of that? You actually reach scale production and have cash in exceed cash out. That's the super hard part. So
everybody needs to be in the factory often enough to be able to understand that last part of the equation.
Yeah.
And if you're in a research center,
I mean, doing them separately is like inefficient for actually making products. So we don't think of it as R&D and then like the product development. It's just one fucking. Sorry.
Yeah.
one go to just make great products.
There's just in general, societally, there's way too much value placed on the idea. It's like, like the idea, everyone like you can have the idea of going to the moon. That's not the hard part. Okay, going to the moon is the hard part by far. And the thing is that is true for really most products. So there's just way too much value placed in the idea of versus execution. We have ideas. We have a bazillion ideas. More ideas than we know what to do with. We have to sort through them and say which one are we actually going to go through the blood, sweat, and tears of bringing to volume production. That's the super, and then actually do that. That's tough. So,
And the closer you are to applying blood, sweat, and tears to actual production, the faster you'll be able to bring new things into actual production.
yeah, exactly. You want a tight feedback loop with production.
Yeah.
That's like the office we're sitting in right now literally looks over the Giga Texas production line. Like the offices are integrated into the factory.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question comes from Tony Sakanagi from Bernstein.
Yes, thank you for taking my question. I have two, please. First, you spoke a lot about FSD and how the economics could be very attractive going forward. I'm wondering if you could just share what your current attach rate might be for FSD on your vehicles, or how to think about the progress of your attach rate or revenue in FSD, let's say in 21 versus 20, and how much deferred revenue for FSD was drawn down during the year. And I have a follow-up, please. Thank you.
I think the FSD stuff, you really don't want to be looking in the rearview mirror. It will not be a good indicator for the future. This is what you need to look out the front windscreen. Because it is such a profound step change. Effectively, long term, every car will have FSD. And the value of that will be a very big number. It's like you just look at this as asset utilization, and you have a passenger car, which normally is driven maybe 1.5 hours a day on average, maybe 10 hours, 12 hours a week. A lot of cars in parking lots. So we're spending money not just driving the cars, but storing them all over the place. We can get rid of a lot of parking lots if you have a car that is operating all the time. There will be a challenge with traffic. We got like this little tiny baby company, the Boring Company, which I initially started as a joke, and now, but now I think it actually could be quite essential to alleviating the insane traffic that will happen when cars are autonomous, because you reduce the pain of travel and you reduce the cost of travel so dramatically that there will be a crazy number of cars on the road. It's going to be, I think it's going to be cheaper to go point to point with a robotaxi, which is an autonomous Tesla, which every car we've made in the past 3 or 4 years will be capable of that, than a bus or a subway. It'll cost less than the subsidized value of a bus ticket. So people are not going to take the bus. If it costs you, I don't know, for argument's sake, $2 to travel 10 miles point to point, nobody's taking the bus, especially in cold weather or it's dark or maybe a little bit dangerous or the hell with that, door to door. People just do not understand how profound a change this is. It's not like some little feature. It's like the most profound software upgrade maybe in history. Millions of cars suddenly have 4 or 5 times the utility than they used to have overnight. I don't actually know how to quantify that financially, except that it's some big number.
Okay, thank you for that. Elon, I was wondering if I could just follow up and ask you, you talked about your product roadmap and also your goal to keep growing at 50% per year or better. That would put you at 3.2 million vehicles or more in 2024. And I think you made reference to Cybertruck, maybe being 250,000 vehicles. If there is no $25,000 vehicle being worked on, is it really realistic to think that you can sell more than 3 million vehicles with 2 very high volume cars and Cybertruck in 2024? Or how do we think about that, or what else is missing in that equation?
Yeah, I mean, it is apparent from the questions that the gravity of full self-driving is not fully appreciated. If an asset has 5 times more utilization than in fact, it's like dividing the cost of that asset by 5. So if you have a $50,000 car, it's like having a $10,000 car all of a sudden. But maybe better than that, because still you don't need anyone to drive. So the person can be engaged in productivity or amusement instead of having to, onerously drive through traffic. So it's probably better than 5 times. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, basically, if the cost of our cars does not change at all, we would still sell as many as we could possibly make.
Thank you. And the next question comes from Pierre Ferragu from New Street Research.
Hey, thank you for taking my question. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
I wanted to come back on batteries. So it's great to hear on one hand that you guys expect to sell like the first cars with 4680 this quarter, and at the same time that you don't really depend on that ramp to achieve your what you hope to achieve in terms of significant volume growth this year. And the question I had is, I understand well the ramp at 4680 internally, but I'd be curious to hear you talk about how you think about 4680 as being a form factor that your suppliers could adopt as well, and how you see in the long run, in the greater scheme of things, what does 4680 become? Is it going to be outside of Tesla the largest form factor for batteries? Is it something that you guys are going to deploy in all cars, whatever the chemistry, also in the Megapack, in all your energy storage business? And do you expect eventually a lot of other companies to use that form factor as well?
Yeah, on the 4680 as a form factor, yes, we've engaged with a number of our partners, our suppliers on the form factor, and they're all working on it. And they look at it the way we look at it, as a way to drive fundamental cost efficiencies in production, and also ultimately the design of the cell itself to drive the cost down of the cell. And so that's what's engaged. I mean, we're engaged because we think it's a good form factor. They're engaged because they think it's a good form factor, and we want people to make it for sure. To the question about should everything be 4680, it doesn't have to be. In the end, it's about cost competitiveness, scalability of manufacturing. And when you compare like a iron cell with a nickel cell, for example, like there are some just physics-based differences in what happens in certain corner cases that would drive different form factors, and we just have to be cognizant of that and design to that. So it isn't like the ultimate form factor for all things. There's other form factors that could be better for an iron cell, for example. So
yeah, we don't use 4680 at all for the iron base cells.
No.
Okay, thanks. And I have a quick follow-up on chips. So you've talked a lot about all this shortage and these supply difficulties. And I was wondering if you could give us some color on, like the power chips you need for inverters and all the power systems you're putting together versus like the more traditional logic chips, if the situation is different between the two. And should we understand from the situation today that you're working very hard also at expanding the scope of your suppliers? And should we expect like Tesla to take on board additional suppliers in the near term, especially on the power side?
Well, last year was chip hell of many chips. So silicon carbide inverters were certainly one of them, but
honestly, it was a lot of annoying, very boring parts.
Yeah. It's a ton of very simple control chips that run of the mill, literally, yeah, basic chips to control
voltage references, oscillators, just like very boring things.
Yeah, exactly. Like the little chip that allows you to move your seat back and forth. It actually was a big problem.
Yeah,
couldn't make seats. So but a lot of these things are alleviating. I think there's some degree of the toilet paper problem as well, where there was a toilet paper shortage during COVID, and obviously it wasn't really suddenly a tremendous enhanced need for ass wiping. It's just people panicked and ordered and got every paper product you could possibly wipe your ass with, basically. And I wasn't sure, is this like a real thing or not? I actually took my kids to the H-E-B and Walmart in Texas to just confirm that this is real. Indeed, it was. And there was plenty of food and everything else, but just nothing, no paper products that didn't cause a splinter. So an odd choice for people to panic about. Mm-hmm. If the end of the world's coming, I think toilet paper is the least of your problems. So I think we saw just a lot of companies overorder chips and then buffer the chips. And so we should see, and we are seeing alleviation in almost every area, but the output of the vehicle goes with the least lucky, whatever the most problematic item in the entire car is. And there's like at least 10,000 unique parts in the car. So, way more than that if you go further up the supply chain. And so it's just which one is going to be the least lucky one this time? It's hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, on a go-forward basis, right, the idea is to continue to drive simplification. So there are fewer unique parts, fewer of them. On the power side in particular, it's still like an area of like technological development where, the next chip can do the same thing with less die area. So like the total fab required to accomplish the function goes down. So there's still room to grow without needing more fab capacity. But in general, there's a lot more fab capacity coming. So that's like a win-win there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a long-term thing because there's going to be there's a crazy amount of chip fabs being built, which is great.
Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this session. Thanks very much for all your good questions, and we'll speak to you again in 3 months' time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay, and we're back.
So some interesting revelations. I
Back
guess.
with the action. Wow. Okay. So first and foremost, sorry for the curse words. Whoever that gentleman was, we probably won't be hearing him on again.
I hope.
Was that Elon's protege that said that?
I don't
that
know.
dropped the F-bomb?
I just hope that we don't get flagged on YouTube.
At least it wasn't us.
This is normally a child-friendly program.
This is, so...
Look, I mean, even Grogu agrees.
Even Grogu agrees. Yeah, that was interesting to say the least. Yeah, sorry, I'm just making sure here that everything looks good.
But definitely, but like some people were talking about in the chat though, we learned a little bit of stuff about like Berlin and Austin and stuff like that. But the product roadmap, which
was basically, I'll give you an update next year.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed because they did say, well, no new vehicles this year. But
by
we
new
needed
vehicles,
a timeline. I wanted a product roadmap saying,
Yeah.
okay, next year we're coming with this, and next year with this,
Yeah.
and this is coming out in 2024, and yeah.
Yeah, but see, like, so the roadmap, when they said, like, no new vehicles, were they talking mainly, like, the Model
New
2
yeah.
or something?
Unveiled.
Because
not
then right after that, they talked about Cybertruck. So it's like, what's up with Cybertruck?
Yeah.
We didn't
But
really
also-
get any update on that.
but
We
also-
didn't get anything for Roadster.
But also the Semi is in the packet for today.
True.
And
They didn't say anything about
we've
it.
heard that like Frito-Lay is installing mega chargers, and other people have, and they're installing like mega chargers at the Reno Gigafactory. So it seems like the Semi is coming sooner than later. So does he mean by new vehicles? Does he mean not yet announced vehicles?
Yeah, I'm trying to just like read through this and see if there's like anything with Semi that I might have missed.
Why
but
did
I
they
don't
show the picture
think
of the
so.
Semi if they're not going to have Semi?
So I don't know. It was interesting call to say the least, but I didn't really hear what I wanted to. A lot of people are gonna be super excited about 4680s being delivered this quarter.
Yeah.
I am a little disappointed because the way they said it and worded it is those cars coming out of Texas will only be going to the east
I
side
don't know
of
if
the
he
US.
said that 100%, but basically that's when they first built Austin. Their reasoning was, well, that factory can handle the eastern half and Fremont can handle
Yeah.
the western half. And if that hasn't changed, then yes, that's what they would be doing, is sending Austin production,
to the east.
And central and east. But that would be kind of unfair, that's kind of having two different models of the same car. And I would think that maybe they would instead have like a long range that would use the 4680s and the standard range would use the 2170s. But
if they're going to do that, they have to make the 4680s and the 2170 Model Ys be the same.
Yeah, or
they
like
can't
would
give different range.
Yeah, they would have to software limit them. So it'll be interesting to see, or how soon would they switch over the Fremont production to
Yeah.
use 4680s as well?
Yeah.
And are they going to keep, I don't know. So it'd be interesting. It wasn't 100% said, but if you listen to what he did say, it kind of goes back to why they built the Austin factory where they did, because it'd be centrally located.
Exactly.
And help reduce shipping costs.
Yeah. Abstract Ocean, thanks so much for the message. Said, this is what the market wants to hear. Volume production, ability to overcome supply chain. Cybertruck scares the market, partially because it's a bit of a pet project for Elon. Yeah, I mean, they definitely seemed, and you mentioned it too in chat earlier, I saw that this is probably one of the best performing calls we have seen in a very long time. And
it was down for a little while, but it was way up for a while.
we were up to a high of like the mid to high 30s, and we were down to what, -10, 12?
Yeah, normally it drops like $18 or something like that, but we're actually still up, and the call is over.
Still up almost $5. So good news. I don't remember the last call that actually ended positive. Most of them don't end positive, folks. This is a change. I definitely think though what they hit on was more what market wants to hear. Not so much what they're interested in talking about, but more geared towards the market. Which it's been rough. Like we've seen the stock this past week or so.
Up and down, yeah, because
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in a couple weeks back, it was like almost $1,200, and then it dropped down to like 800, mid 800s.
Yeah.
But then it went back up, and now we're, again, it was 1,000. Now it's back down to 943, whatever, So
Yeah.
up and down.
Chris Justin said they can't get cost down on Cybertruck. He did mention something very similar. Basically that he said like the technology is really great, but they need to figure out basically how to bring the cost down to justify it. So will the prices we originally saw on Cybertruck happen? I see some comments in chat. I think we're being duped here, but I'll look real quick on the website to make sure. Cybertruck has not been removed from the website.
Yeah, it's just not one of the products listed along the top. It's always over there in the other products there. If you click the menu there.
Cheetah Turbo said, "Can you confirm the 4680 will be on performance models first?" They didn't really say anything like that. I'll reach out to some contacts I have at Tesla and see if I can get anything. But I honestly don't know. It's a great question. Let's see. Chris said they also said they're aiming for 250,000 Cybertrucks, but there's like 2 million plus pre-orders. This scaling takes a lot of time, and especially when they talked about the new tech that's in the car and how they're trying to bring it to a cost that makes sense while keeping as much in as possible. Clearly, that car that we saw leaked photos of this week, it seems to me like it's definitely an alpha. I don't think they're at beta yet.
Yeah, but it definitely, we can see some things have changed.
You bet. It's just another alpha.
Changes. And we're still not seeing enough details about like the charge plugs for outlets, whatever.
Yeah.
Because we've seen like with the Ford F-150 how they announced how much they'll be able to charge.
Yep.
And then what the Silverado came out and said, oh well, we're going to do higher than what Ford allows. Yeah. So you'd think that Cybertruck from Tesla could be the highest.
Yeah.
But we don't have any details on charging options.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's not.
Any rumors on expected range of the new Model Y? So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I think they would have to keep it basically the same as the 2170s. They can't. You can't be shipping the East Coast one product with more range and the same price shipping the West Coast a product with less range.
Especially if it's the same product. If it's called the long-range Model Y or performance Model Y, they're not. You can't have two different ones. And
so maybe like the way Tesla normally does stuff is they start with the more expensive variant because it normally has the higher margin. Perhaps when Austin goes up and running, they will do performance higher end variants only with 4680s, and maybe Fremont will just start doing the long range.
Or maybe they would have a standard range or something like that.
Maybe that could come back, but it would make most sense based on how Tesla's done things in the past is only put those 4680s in the performance vehicles because those are their higher margin, higher cost vehicles. But I think if they did that, a lot of people would splurge for a performance to get those 4680s.
The only thing that's wrong with that again though is that what if you live in California and you want to...
Well, no, I would say that Austin would build performance for all of the U.S.
Yeah, that kind of goes against what they said about shipping to the eastern half of the United States.
But maybe they'll just do that until they get enough 4680s where Fremont can incorporate that, and then they can kind of split the U.S.
Interesting, see, but until then they could also just have software limitations.
They could?
So they might have the exact same mileage. Because we saw this in the past when Tesla came out with newer batteries, but they would still sell older, like the 75 and the 60, and you could get a software locked Model S 60 kilowatt hour, but it really came with a 70 or 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. They just locked it so that you didn't get that additional...
I have a feeling a lot of people would feel duped on the West Coast.
Exactly.
That's going to cause
the
a
whole
big
Western
stir.
US. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it.
I can see that causing a lot of backlash for them. The Todd said Model Y standard range coming back with LFP out of Fremont. I mean, kind of going off what like you were saying is, maybe they'll do like standard range again and long range in Fremont and performance maybe in Austin until everything gets up and going. Let's see. Thanks for hanging out, Connor. Really appreciate it. Model Y standard range would be an amazing return. Yes, I agree. It definitely come in at a lesser price point. I would think if anything though, I don't know the back end on Tesla and how it would work, but it would be great if they would offer a long range, software locked as standard range, something that you could buy in the future.
Yeah, and that's what. But I see what Helmut there mentions too. They could just put fewer cells in it so that don't fill in the battery pack, and so it gets the same range as the 2170 cars, and they're not putting those extra batteries in there. So that I could see that happening as well.
If they're gonna do all the variants from both factories, I think that is literally the only realistic option because you're going to create a black market for all your Austin vehicles if that's the case.
But also, too, that means they'll have that many leftover 4680 cells instead of building 3 cars. Maybe they could build 4, so that just makes it so that, again, they mentioned that they expect the 4680 production to be sufficient for all of 2022.
Yeah. Ziggo said the split shipping might just be a long-term goal as soon as both factories are producing same products.
I could see that, too. So maybe now, like you said, they'd come out with a long range or a performance one, and they ship it everywhere. And you got to think too, with all these car carriers,
they're going that way anyway, but they've been empty.
Yeah, so now they could bring them back.
Exactly.
But what's interesting, I didn't hear anything in this call. Nobody asked about, they're still not able to sell cars in Texas.
True.
Yet they're building all these cars in Texas.
And they have insurance in Texas.
Yes.
So
Pierre, thank you, Pierre.
Thank you, Pierre, for the $5 super chat. Let me get that confetti going for you. Let's see, did it come through yet? Oh, there it is. Completely off topic. What do you think about carbon fiber mud flaps for the Model S T-Sport line? Will they work? Also, not taking delivery of my Model X. I'm not sure about those carbon fiber mud flaps. I'll have to research that.
I haven't seen those yet. Wait,
also, not taking delivery of my Model X. Oh, that's a
no.
bummer. Is it because you like your S so much? Maybe. That would be cool. Message me on Twitter and we can talk about the X and everything a little later.
What were the specs on his X though?
I don't know. Was their X white on white long range? Because if so, maybe I will just come to you and buy it.
Who might be interested.
Because Tesla, our Model Y still says March delivery.
Yes.
A couple of our good friends have had their dates moved up. Unfortunately, one of our friends reached out during the live stream and he had his date pushed back to March again after being moved up. We just really want a Model X. A lot of fun things going on with that. We have some news. I don't think we're quite ready to share it yet. Maybe in a few weeks or so. And another reason why Model X would be so great.
I'm trying to confuse them by showing a potato.
A potato. By the way, did you guys like our impromptu props? Because this was pretty great. I was pretty happy with the potato. Because yeah, some of those calls, it sounded like they were literally calling on, I don't even know what's the worst thing I've ever called on. Not even a rotary phone. Those sounded better.
Okay. Oh, I have an idea.
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you later.
Let's say we'll go through a couple more comments real quick and kind of give our closing thoughts on this. Otis said maybe Tesla will temporarily offer 4680 and 2070 long range with 2 different prices. That's another thought. It seems like that's going to get confusing though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything on the Refresh S? I missed it. Nothing on Refresh S or X besides them saying they're still ramping up production.
Yeah, nothing really on the X. Yeah.
Yup. Let's see. Where are we? Abstract Ocean said the irony. Oh, sorry. Irony is still can't buy a Tesla in Texas, so I guess those sales will stop going through. We'll still go through California for now, or where Tesla build delivery centers on the border
next to the casino. Exactly, or some of
You know what? I would love to be able to take delivery of a Tesla in a casino parking lot. 2 of my favorite things.
Yeah, but it's just, or like we've seen in New Mexico where Tesla was not allowed to have a showroom or anything like that.
Yep.
Then they were able to open one there on some tribal land.
Yeah.
And now Tesla can, sell you a car in New Mexico for the first time. And that's been around for several months.
I think that's a great option too because it gives jobs on the tribal lands as well.
They could do that in Texas as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Dan said, I hope at least they give a small boost in range for the Model Y. 400 miles would be perfect for me, but I could see 375. I don't think they're going to surpass Model S.
Not anytime
or
soon.
X.
I think maybe eventually it'll be up there, but for now I don't think they need to.
Yeah.
Because the competition just doesn't have the range, and I still think they want to keep the Model S, like you said.
More premium. Jan said, why isn't Tesla selling cars in Texas?
Well, they're not allowed to because of laws that have been put in place by the lobbyists from the automobile dealers associations there in Texas work with the politicians to get laws placed so that Tesla is not allowed to sell cars there. Just like there's other states where they're just not allowed to sell cars in the state. And so if you actually do buy a car in Texas, they actually have to do all the paperwork out of state. And so you're not officially buying it there.
Did you see this?
Oh, yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Greg, Model X Performance is still showing February 2nd to 23rd. I can't wait, Greg. I'm so excited.
We like is it Kartoffel? Is that the right word, Jen? We like Kartoffel too. Yeah. Das is good.
Wow. You haven't even drank, so okay. Real quick, let me catch up.
Potatoes.
We do love potatoes. We eat a lot of potatoes in this household. John, thank you for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Is that your FSD potato? FSD doesn't work in the wintertime. Just recognize ice. They have to fix this. So I haven't really tried FSD beta in snowstorms or anything yet because that car has summer tires on it, and we haven't been buying FSD anymore in the cars. So just if I have the subscription. Unfortunately, I haven't tried it yet though, but yeah, definitely be careful with it. But yes, that is gonna be our little FSD potato. Hurricane, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Said, what happened to the product roadmap update? The update is not this year. I can't say that with a straight face, but that's kind of what it sounded like.
But I mean, they're busy with other things. So.
True.
But I was looking forward to it. Oh.
Yeah. Let's see. Tom's getting a Model X Plaid delivered February 7th in Chicago.
Oh, nice. Lucky.
Awesome. Maybe we should have just done.
I was reading a lot of
X.
people were getting Plaid calls and stuff like that. And I heard actually one was up. I thought it was in Chicago where like the guy just called, "Can you pick it up today?" And the guy was like, "Oh, I still have to sell." I think he had a P100.
Oh yeah, you messaged me this.
And he was he did a trade-in offer, and Tesla gave him a lot more. Surprisingly, offered him a lot more than what he was expecting. So he was cloud 9 to hear that.
Yeah. Let's see. Nate O'Bean said, any thoughts on a Model 3 and Model Y Plaid? To be honest, I don't really foresee that because then they're kind of kicking S and X to the curb. They don't want to have the two models compete with each other very much.
And I don't know how they would differentiate that from a performance. Because Plaid came out, they got rid of the performance S, so I don't know what else they could do, really. I mean, I guess they could add air suspension.
Maybe, but if you're gonna get a car and take it to a track, air suspension really isn't all that ideal. So, I don't know. I don't really foresee that coming anytime soon. Tech and Stuff said nothing on FSD for the rest of the world. No, unfortunately, they didn't mention that at all.
Oh, yeah. Did you thank Hurricane? You did ask about you did talk about the product.
Yep. Okay. Ed said Elon mentioned Powerwalls will be LFP. Did I miss that?
I don't know. I heard somebody talking about Powerwalls, but I didn't hear that. So we'd have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to that. Diego said why was Grogu never buckled in? Yeah. Because like he's just that good.
Yeah, but we didn't have like an official news thing. Normally we have the seatbelt on for safety during the news. We didn't really have any, our little news segment at the beginning.
Yo. Let's see.
Kartoffel is that? Oh, yeah, see,
Where's that? Oh yeah, okay, there you go. I cannot read that, but at least he can.
Kartoffel ist das richtige Wort.
Yeah. Let's see. Surprise, no specs on 4680 Ys. I think they might still be working out the kinks, and perhaps maybe we'll have like an impromptu video from Tesla or update with that.
Or maybe, I don't know. But anyways, they did say delivery this quarter, so that's within like the next 8 weeks or so. We should be seeing those.
Yep. Jim said still hoping for a Cybertruck by Christmas 2022. I
don't think that's happening.
Would love that.
That would be nice, but the problem too is like they're talking about capacity, ramping up capacity, 250,000 Cybertrucks, but they've got 2 million pre-orders. It's going to be years before some people get their orders, and I don't know how they're going to go through the list, because as we've seen with like the Model X and the Model S, they're not delivering them in the order in which these reservations or orders were placed. Because we put in our order for the S and the X back in like end of 2020, and we're still waiting on our X. And I'm hoping that we're not going to have like a 10-year wait on the Cybertruck.
Yeah, hopefully not. Cass said I ended up canceling my new Model X order and buying a 2018 Model X up in Seattle. Took possession this past Friday. Congrats on your new X. Love that. Pierre said it's a plaid Model X, white on white. You know what? Like, I'm not necessarily opposed to a plaid Model X. If it's the old price book, I probably would do it. If it's the new one, probably not. But I don't really need a plaid X. We really want just the range. That's really what we want. so we can do some more fun road trips and stuff. Let's see.
Lots of road trips coming.
Chelsea said they said iron base, so I assume that's LFP. Yeah, I would think that's good. That's putting that together really well.
And also with Powerwalls typically charge them up to 100% all the time.
Yeah.
So that would be helpful.
Yep.
I mean, maybe you wouldn't have as much degradation as they do in the current ones. But again, our Powerwalls are still doing great, but I could see that being a benefit of LFP Powerwall batteries.
Yeah. Brian said, surreal listening, watching to you guys and Elon on my recently received Starlink. Any thoughts on what appears to be no more white marble dash in the Cybertruck? Didn't like it. So happy if it changes.
Yeah.
So one, congrats on the Starlink. We could have used it the other day. We had no Wi-Fi for like 14 hours, and our cell phones service was really crappy too because everyone there were like 2,500 plus homes without service, and so everyone was on their cell phone. It was just bad. So we just kind of hung out, watched some recorded TV that we had, and just like hung out and chatted. It was actually kind of fun. But also, white marble dash. So any car with a white dash, you get crazy reflections. So not having that white dash, I totally understand why they removed it. During the day, the reflections are just blinding.
Plus, I never understood the logic of marble in a car. It's
the marble's a little weird.
Fake marble, because we know it was made out of like recycled paper products.
Exactly.
So it wasn't real marble.
But I'm a huge fan of the recycled paper product aspect.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I would love it if it was somehow still incorporated.
I just didn't like the marble idea, because I've never seen a car that had fake rock.
It looked a little out of place. I will certainly agree with that. Real quick, Mando, thank you for the $2 super chat. Really appreciate that. Said, should have had Grogu sit next to Mr. Bigglesworth. Mr. Bigglesworth is actually right over there. He's up on the shelf.
He likes to hide up in his little,
He's actually on my shorts right now. Thank you for the $2 super chat though, Mando. Really do appreciate that. Let's see. Elon did say stationary power storage will migrate to iron. So yeah,
okay, so
LFP.
Yeah.
That's actually a good thing. I'm
so I wonder if that will be like the Powerwall 3.
Oh, yeah.
Or 2.5, because they already have like 2.1 or whatever. So I would think they would have to change it to Powerwall 3 or something.
Yeah, they need to just jump numbers. Yeah. Youngman said, do you agree FSD will be level 4 this year?
I don't. It would be nice.
I am not going to hold my breath. There's so many logistic hoops to jump through for that. It's not as easy as it seems.
It would be nice, but yeah, we like Eric said earlier, though, we are no longer paying for FSD. We do have at least one car in the garage with full self-driving, but we are waiting for the camera upgrades on that, because that's one of those cars that originally came with Autopilot 2, and then Elon said that they would have to have the cameras updated. So that car still has FSD, but on my car that we just picked up at the end of December, don't have the subscription, just get by with the basic Autopilot on that.
Yep. Andrew said, I hope for Model 3 powertrain battery update in the next couple of years. Would be nice to get a flat power curve similar to Refresh S, not necessarily plaid level, but a lot more oomph above 80 miles an hour. I agree. I have raced Model 3s on many tracks, and yeah, once you get above like 60, 70, 80, you flatten out or you drop quite a bit. So I agree, that would be nice. Let's see. Kind of working through some of these.
I saw somebody, well, just go back for a second. I think you went 1, 2, 4. I saw somebody, yeah. Where did it go? I just saw somebody said they did a road trip in their, oh yeah, this one right there. So in their Nissan.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks ago, they took the same road trip on Model 3 and can't wait to do it again. So yeah, definitely. We've had Teslas for over 5 years now.
And I had a Pathfinder as well.
Oh yeah, Nissan. But basically, even when we traveled, we went to Iceland last summer. We rented a Model 3 and drove it around the entire country of Iceland. So definitely, it's like if we can avoid driving ICE vehicles again, we will.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the last time I guess the last time was almost 5 years ago, because when I sold my Honda, it was almost 5 years ago in right at the beginning of 2017.
Yeah, a long time ago now. Let's see. Amlet said, doesn't the Model 3 SR have white cover on the dash? So it's just like the trim piece, but it does. But you also do get some reflection glare from that. So I think that's why Tesla finally thought, while it might look interesting, it's probably not super practical. Let's see. Tesla Tim, bye. Appreciate you hanging out. Hope you have a good night. Let's see. Mine Tesla said first Cybertruck orders are 100% going to be people who pick them up in Austin because no shipping costs for Tesla. So if you want your truck first, pick it up gladly.
But actually, that's not the case because they're required by law to charge the same, shipping and dock fees to every car, no matter where they live in the country.
So they'll still charge you. They just won't have to pay for it.
Okay, that's true. But it's
So
not going to save the
it.
people any money.
No.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
But if that's the case,
but
I'm on the first
But we
flight
still
down.
have the problem where they're not allowed to.
Can we just
sell
do
you
the paperwork out of state?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Looking to you, Pete, for some advice. Let's see. Pierre said canceled the X because the Model S long range plenty fast for me, and I decided to order Performance Model Y delivery in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. Okay, so he's getting a what? Okay,
Also, Model X at old price point plus $2,000 discount.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Do I go buy that
We
road
should go
trip?
see it, how much our X is on there, but.
I might message you later, Pierre. Let me run some numbers. Exclusive Walker said no mention of new headlight taillight for Model S and X, at least in the US. I honestly think that leaked out a little too soon.
Yeah, because we basically saw that was in Taiwan.
Yes.
Where it was in a Tesla store there, and people were taking pictures, and you could see that it had those new matrix headlights.
Yep.
And yeah, we haven't heard anything about that, but I was thinking we might be seeing it soon. But who knows? Our X is delayed for a couple months. Maybe it would be on that.
Maybe. Real quick, I saw Cheetah said nice doggy. So these are our two twins. So yeah, they're just kind of hanging out. They're actually just right behind us,
Working
laying
hard
down.
or hardly working, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. We'll probably go ahead and end it here. I really appreciate everyone hanging out. I appreciate the super chats. Definitely not required, certainly appreciated. Thank you so much for hanging out and chat during the call. I love seeing everyone's comments. I'm sure when everyone heard the F-bomb dropped, we all took to the comments and they were gold. You guys make me laugh so much. Really do appreciate all that. But yeah, it's been an interesting day to say the least. But that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, huge thanks though to our channel sponsor, Abstract Ocean. If you haven't yet, definitely check them out. All linked down below, and using code Tesla Inventory, which you 15% off of your first purchase. A lot of really cool, useful accessories. Definitely recommend the matte screen protectors. We just finished and finalized those not too long ago for Refresh S and X.
And we just got some packages. I won't say what's in them, but we just received some new stuff from Abstract Ocean yesterday. So eagerly, those will be coming.
Is that a leak?
Well, there's something.
Product leak.
We won't say what that is.
Always working on something, but really appreciate them for helping make all this possible. Really helps out a ton. But that's basically it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We will see you all.
Yeah, see the dogs know it's over. It's time to go.
Yeah, the dogs know they heard. We'll see you all this weekend. It might be an interesting live stream this weekend.
Oh yes.
It might just be, actually it will just be me if there's a live stream this
Maybe I'll
weekend
call
because
remotely.
David will be out of town.
We can try this.
Oh yeah, we could try
Zoom.
remote.
Put my tablet over there. And
There you go. But yeah, that's basically it. We'll see you all a little later. Bye.
I just had an idea. Okay, we can do